I'm starting to get real tired of the financial literacy cult. Obviously, right now we're in an age that consists of constant improvement when it comes to well being, when it comes to self thought, self improvement. But I think one of the biggest things that we have conditioned ourselves to believe is that we won't make it anywhere in life if we don't have the proper financial literacy, if we don't understand that being well versed in economics or understanding certain systems like stocks and crypto, that we will not have the financial freedom that we need to enjoy our lives or to be successful. And I want to inform to everybody here who's watching this video that that is not the case. Okay, we are pushing this movement of financial literacy and being well versed in that sector of life when it's not as black and white as people think it is. So I made some notes because I wanted to make sure that I relayed this message as clearly as possible. But so I'm just gonna clear through some stuff because I want to make sure that I hit those points. I think the first thing that we need to do is stop blaming the world and for people for not being financially literate and basing that on why they're not ahead in life. I think what some people forget is that not every single circumstance is going to be similar to the one that you've been brought up into, right? Some people had to choose food over stocks on the table. Some people had to choose their child receiving proper healthcare and dental rather than picking their favorite crypto coin. Some people even decided that it was more important to see a loved one receive a gift that they've always wanted rather than putting $1,000 into the best investment that would give them a 10x in the next 10 years. We can't be so tunnel visioned when it comes to financial literacy. People have different circumstances, like I've said before. You know, we're not all brought up and raised in conditions and in households where people are taught these things, right? Some things are more important to others. I feel like we're incredulously lost when it comes to this matter. And it's kind of sad, if I'm being completely honest. We're not really focusing on the main points of the purpose of living this life, which is to enjoy every single aspect of it, right? It's not to just completely work a 9 to 5 or go into the entrepreneurship or to go towards the entrepreneurship but it's not all about going through those routes and then fixing your life into success, having money, having nice cars, having multiple homes, having nice fancy watches. Some people don't care about that stuff. The gratification of materialistic things is not the end all be all for some people. Some people actually want to enjoy joy with just having a family, with raising kids. Some people just want to be parents. Some people just want to travel, backpack, and going to different parts of the world, learning the history, learning their culture, being well versed in other aspects that is besides themselves and their way of seeing things. I think it's admirable to see somebody understand that being financially literate is a really good thing and can push them forward in their life, but they understand that this whole aspect of us living here and what we're doing is so temporal that it's not forever, right? So those crypto coins that people want to buy and those stocks that people are eventually going to come up in the next few years, they're not going to take that with them to their grave. Now, mind you, I understand that there's things like generational wealth and you want to be able to give things to your children or your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren. You want to be able to give these things down and hand those things down, but it doesn't always have to be land. It doesn't always have to be money. Sometimes it can be as small as your favorite book that has such deep meaning that it touches your heart, and it touched your heart so much that you want it to touch the descendants as well, your descendants, that you want them to understand that there's more to meaning of this mundane life that we so have decided to continue living in. And there's aspects to it that you want them to really gravitate their life around. Some people rather choose that instead. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's an acceptable thing to do. And I think one other thing that I wanted to touch on especially was to not compare yourself to a lot of these people that you see claiming to have done these things or having these things set up for themselves. I feel like we forget that the more that we compare, we begin to have irrational thoughts about the circumstances that other people are in. We start to fabricate and believe a completely different story than what's being shown, whether it be through social media or whatever small lies that they might have perpetuated from outside of their confined walls. So I'm gonna give an example of this. Let's say somebody has a house that they bought, a condo or a home or whatever, and they go on social media and they say, I'm a 23-year-old individual person, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I went to school for 2 years. I didn't love what I wanted to do, but I worked really hard. And, a couple years later, I was able to buy this $3 million home or this $2 million home, whatever. Now you're thinking, wow, I'm 23 or I'm 24 and I don't have a home like that. I still live with my parents. I don't really buy my own groceries. Pretty much just still piggybacking off of what my parents have built for me, which also, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not so black and white. There are so many aspects, so many different crevices that people aren't understanding. The lines in between the other lines that are not shown or talked about. It's not so black and white. I'm very animated right now, which is a little bit different from my previous videos, but I just feel really strongly about this because it's consistently what I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis on social media is just people talking about how they've succeeded because they put $10,000 in the stock market. Some people don't have $10,000 to spare. Some people don't have $10,000 to spare. It's not that they're not capable of doing it. They just can't. So stop making people feel bad about themselves for not having things that you have. And I'm talking to those people out there who do the social media. I know you're doing it because, this is your way to make your income. Or sometimes it's just what they learn in school. So they're just trying to get by posting on social media. We're all trying to get by. We're all trying to make it. But not everybody has to do the same thing. Now, again, I'm not knocking these creators, or I'm not knocking these people who are advocating and continuously pushing and telling people, invest in the stock market, put your money in, these portfolios or whatever it might be. I'm not knocking it. I applaud it because you're trying to help people become successful. Because these times are rough right now. It's hard to live in these conditions and in our time. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful for those who truly care and want to help the people. But remember that it's not the same. Our circumstances are different. We're all living the same life. We're all trying to get by, but our circumstances are different. Some people are going to care more about their children than putting money in the stock market. And I think that's fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Am I crazy to think that? Is that so odd for me to... I don't think so. I think that I'm making sense. I hope that I'm making sense. There's so much more to the world. And I think that if we can all collectively see and understand that the world doesn't have to relate around money or the possession of things, I feel like we'll be able to truly understand that life is way broader than we've allowed it to be, especially now. Yeah, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Maybe I'm not in with the times, because I know times are hard. Trust me, I feel it just as much. Anyways, I think that's the rant. And I hope that somehow through this video, whoever's watching this video, if you're feeling discouraged or scared or afraid because you're not sure what path to take, you're doing so much better than you think you are.